How was it to get punched by Michael B. Jordan?
It was an expensive punch, I will say that. So it
came with a credit. I'm here with one of my favorite West Philadelphians, and that's real hard to say because we got Wilt, we got Will, we got the whole Steady B, that whole movement, Tap Money. We have them. I'm claiming Cool C, of course. My man Cool C, and I'm claiming Kobe.
Benny Boone, Kobe.
We claim Kobe, right?
All day.
He's on the other side of City Line, but
we claiming him. We claiming him.
That's West Philly.
We claiming the Black Mamba.
He cut his teeth on our courts, not out there at Brit Bar or wherever he was at. So we claiming it. No, this is one of my favorite West Philadelphians, man. Throughout my career, I feel like you've been a staple. We've always met each other at various points in our ascent, man, and we've always chopped it up, and we've always been A1, but we've always championed one another.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite Tone Trump moments, and I don't even know if you remember this.
I definitely do. Whatever
so
it is.
Important to me, bro. I get a phone call randomly from Trump. He's like, "Yo, where are you?" I'm like, "Yo, I just so happened," and I'm not in Philly often. I just so happen to be in Philly. He's like, "You gotta come to the TLA because Little B, the bass god, invited me to perform, and you gotta experience this." And it was one of the greatest hip hop experiences that I ever got to witness, and I wouldn't have been able to see
Shout
it.
out to the bass guy.
Come on, man. You were blown away that you got that phone call, bro.
Absolutely.
It was the night was amazing. We stayed there till maybe 2 or 3 in the morning because Lil B shook hands and took pictures with every single fan. And the TLA holds like, what, 1,200 people?
Yeah, like 1,700.
And he took a picture with everyone, and there was kids in the audience with oven mitts and wooden spoons, and they was just cooking the entire concert. And it was dope too, because I don't know if you remember this, but Little B did not know any of his rhymes.
No, he's got so many songs.
And they sound so similar that he would be rhyming one song over the wrong beat, but it didn't matter because all they was doing was cooking. It didn't matter. It was such an experience.
He was at the height of his situation at the time.
Yes, and he called you.
And not only did he call me, I met him that day in Philly, and then I wound up doing like 30 cities with him. Like I never went back home. I left and we just went around the country.
That's
Shout
amazing.
out to Lil B. That's my bro. I went on 2 tours with him.
It's funny because when I went to Vice, one of the first phone calls I made was Lil B, who I met that night through you.
Yeah.
We exchanged numbers, and he would text me randomly all throughout like life. Yeah. And then maybe 7 years later, I was at Vice, and I was like, "Yo, would you come on my show?" And he came on the show, and it was wild. So I met him through you. And it's ill because I feel like you're one of those artists that is in the city, but it's almost bigger than Philly. And I feel like what I've noticed about Philly rappers a lot of times is they become super popular within the city, but you were smart and so ahead of your time when it came to how you wanted to market yourself and brand yourself, and you would take it upon yourself to go out of the city. And then what happened with your career was people who would associate rappers from Philly would be quicker to associate you with us than some of the people here would associate you, which led to, CeeLo Green albums, which led to, a Rolling Creed. You know what I'm saying? Like, how was it to get punched by Michael B. Jordan, by the way?
It was an expensive punch, I would say that. So, it
came with a credit.
It came with a credit, and it came with a lot of opportunity, and getting to work with him and Ryan Coogler was amazing. So
and Ryan hit you up, right? Was that how it worked?
Yep. Ryan wrote me in the movie.
He wrote you in.
Yeah. When he got the script, my part was they didn't originally have me in the movie. He wrote me in to give it some Philly, authenticity. So shout out to Ryan Coogler.
Word. All right. So you got the rose. And so I'm just going to continue to give you your flowers for Father's Day. One of my favorite Rap Dad.
I appreciate him.
Thank you. One of my favorite Rap Dad episodes was when we got to chop it up And one of the memorable moments that I took away from that, I actually wrote in the book also, was one of those moments that you shared with me about your son Tali. Mm-hmm. And you know, I think the story goes that you guys were leaving Target and you saw someone you know, asking for money, and you told him to give him some money.
Yeah.
And his response, obviously, as kids are, he didn't want to share. He didn't want to give up his bread. But one of the things he said was, "But that's not a Muslim."
Right.
And then your response to that was,
you know, we still gotta help them, even if they're not Muslim. We don't just help Muslims; we help everybody.
And I felt like that was such an amazing moment, both a teachable moment,
right,
but also like a moment to share. Like so often, especially like in Philly, and Philly is one of those special places where there's a big Muslim community.
Absolutely.
And you can't grow up in this city and not be friends with, not grow up with, not
right,
play ball with, not, you know,
be related to
right, a Muslim. I'm Puerto Rican and I got Puerto Rican Muslims in my family. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was dope because that community is so strong and so powerful with each other. I'll never forget, I was driving downtown in Center City, and I was with my homie Fakir, and Fozzie was, we were looking for a parking spot, and these two Muslim ladies were about to get, you know, in their car to leave, and he was like, you know, he poked his head out of the window. He's like, "Yo, are y'all leaving?" He was like, "Yeah." She was like, "But we'll hold the spot for you if you need to go around." And they stood in their spot. And it took a long time with traffic for us to get back to our spot. But that was like something that just was like something that they did for the community. So I understood where Tali was coming from.
Absolutely.
But I love what that moment was. It's like, we're not called to just, you know, support each other. We're called to support everyone, humanity.
Absolutely.
And that was dope. And that's what leads me to what the work that you're doing now in the street, and what you've been doing. You know, we know Kensington especially is looking like, you know, Resident Evil and all types of stuff with the opioid crisis. And you've been out there, and as your friend, I've known that you've been out there for months before you even publicized it.
Right.
And that was something that was like just something that you wanted to do. You felt like it was corny at a moment to be like, it's corny to use these people as a prop, but then it became bigger than you, and then it almost like it had to be exposed. Like,
well, the reason why I had to expose it is because I was raising so much money, and when you get larger donors, you want to be able to show where their money is going to. So like in 2021, we raised over $1 million.
Wow.
So when you raise that kind of money, I got to be able to show that money to, you know, to the government. And so like I said, I got donors who give us $50,000 on one hit. So they want to be able to see the action into their money. So even religiously, I'm not supposed to showcase my good deeds, but from a business standpoint, you know, we have to, you know, show the people what their dollar is going to.
Word. So let's relate that to fatherhood. You, again, with that example of that moment with you and Tali, you were able to show him that, you know, we're here for humanity, you know, as a whole. What does that look like when you're teaching your children about philanthropy? Like, are they trying to get involved with what you're doing? Are you allowing them to be involved? Like, you know, how does that work for you?
Well, the first thing is my kids travel with me. So aside from, I just got back from Kenya, they don't go to Africa with me just because of safety reasons, but everywhere else they go with me. I just was in Canada after Ramadan, Calgary and Edmonton. So they are part of my movement. So everything I do, they do with me. So they understand why we give back. They understand why, you know, if you ask my little son, my youngest, you say, why don't we waste food? He can tell you we don't waste food because people in Africa don't have nothing to eat. He's like programmed to know that. So everything we do with giving back, they are part of. So they fully understand it. And they love it. They love doing the work too.
So how does that impact them as like in terms of their personality? Like, I gotta imagine that humility, you know, and that others mindedness, like it kind of infiltrates their personalities.
I think it helped them because my children are very, very spoiled and very privileged. So I think, you know, you got, that's why it's so important to show your children things, because I was telling them why we don't waste food, but I don't think it was resonating. But then when they go to the shelter and they go to the orphanage and they see kids who have nothing, and, you know, they complain about, you know, like not getting a certain app that day or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So when they see a kid who eats the same thing every day, you know, they see a kid who doesn't have a bathroom. You know what I mean? So I think they understand at an early age, you know, we in a privileged position. We need to be grateful. So I think they understand that. I didn't understand it at that age, but they do, you know.
What inspired you? You're a West Philly dude, you know. What inspired you to want to take on this role and really, you know, be out in the community and make an impact?
My children, you know, like as I was like chasing my rap dreams and stuff like that, as I got closer to my faith, I was doing a lot of things that I wasn't proud of. And I didn't want to be known for certain things. I didn't want my kids looking up stuff on YouTube and that being all of me. So like when I had my son Aleem, who's 9 now, so like 9 years ago, I just started to have a serious epiphany, and I was touring a lot, so I was on a lot of drinking and smoking and partying, and I was killing myself. And then when I had my son Aleem, I was like, yo, I gotta tighten up. You know, his mother was on it. She wasn't the type of girl that was gonna just let me be playing around. She was a real woman, and she was demanding me to be a man and be a great father. So that really tightened me up, and it set me on the path that I'm on now. That's why I call him, like, he like my lifesaver. He's like my little, that's like my shadow, my son. That's all my boys is always with me, but he's like always with me. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Right.
Word. It's interesting. So your being a father literally changed the trajectory of your life and what you thought of legacy, because that's a big reason why I'm having these conversations.
Absolutely.
Is, you know, when I became a certain age, and more importantly, when my sons became a certain age, I'm like, okay, what is my legacy and what am I kind of passing down to them? I feel like also as you've turned up in, you know, philanthropy, as you turned up in your fatherhood, you turned up in the music even crazier. So like, talk about how being a father has impacted you as an artist.
Well, like I said, my son saved my life. So a part of him saving my life is me living better, eating better, changing my diet, you know, getting rid of the substances, you know, praying more. So when you do all of those things, you become better at everything. Like when I first was rapping, I wasn't really good at rapping. I just out hustled everybody. I was smarter than all of them. I looked better than all of them. So I just exceeded them. But it wasn't because I was a good rapper. But then as I got sobered up and clear-minded and had better goals, the music got better. My relationships got better. I was dealing with people better. I was doing better business. I'm speaking better. You know, when you sober, you seeing things better. You know what I'm saying? So I had 2 years that was like a blur. You know what I mean? Just running around touring and living wild. When I look back at this, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, we focus and we closing a lot of big deals and setting legacies and making it where my children will never have to work for anybody. You know, they can walk right into the family business, God willing. And that's what my legacy is about right now.
Word. I mean, another thing that you, when you say doing good business, I feel like another, you know, benefit to our relationship is when you get an opportunity, you're immediately looking to the circle for who to put in position. And that transpired for me when I think it was West Coast Mixtapes that you had a deal with, or some situation. Coast to Coast Mixtapes, yeah. You had a deal with, and you were like, all right, I need some visuals, and you hit me up
right away.
You were, yeah. So I feel like you know, I'm a real big believer in karma, and what you put into the lives of others comes back into your own.
Me too.
And I feel like that's also why you reap such a crazy amount of love and appreciation and blessings as well.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're untouchable in terms of, like, I won't say cancel proof, because canceling is a whole nother thing, and
don't put that one on me.
No, but I'm talking about in terms of like your position in hip hop, your position in rap, especially as it pertains to our city. I don't think that anyone can kind of question it or even challenge it, because I also feel like you've carved your own space. That's what
that was my whole plan.
Okay.
So like what I do now, like even like what I call the genre of music I do, is whoever else is doing it after me. So I created my own wave. I know how many streams each song is going to get. I know, like, when I do a merch drop, I just did a collab with Mesquine. I told Mesquine what we was going to do. I told him how I was going to go. And you know what they said to me, like, 48 hours later, they was like, damn, you know your shit, man. I'm like, I know it. I conditioned my fans to support in a certain way. And I'd say I don't have the most supporters, but I got the best ones. So when I drop a project, I have a certain amount of people that are going to buy the merch, the project directly from me. They're going to come out to my events. I'm on tour right now. Everything sold out, everything beautiful, never no violence. You know, we pray at my parties. So it's just a whole different energy and vibe. So it's just been a blessing, and I carved out my own little wave, and I don't have to compete with these amazing rappers in Philadelphia or nowhere else because I have my own lane. I can shoot my own films and put out my own content and broker deals all over the world. Like I'm going to Kenya because I'm Tone Trump. I'm in Canada because I'm Tone Trump. And the people that support me, they don't know nothing about no negativity or no old world star stuff. They know what I'm selling now, and they appreciate it.
Word. So another thing, and this is the last thing that I want to talk to you about, is how you navigate who you are and representing your faith in the man that you are now, and collaborating and connecting with street life and street culture. You just had a record with Jim Jones. And, you know, Jim Jones is, you know, one of my favorite records from him, On My Way to Church. And, you know, he's here with the Muslim Don. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how are you able to coexist?
I think because people respect my transparency. Like, I never act like I'm a perfect Muslim. I'm a striving Muslim. I'm a praying Muslim. I'm a flawed Muslim. And people have watched me growing up on camera, like my journey. You know, I was on World Star for 10 years and YouTube and all this stuff. So when you think about somebody like Jim Jones and Dipset and Els and them, they seen me since 2009, and I'm still in them same buildings with them, in the same rooms with them, and, you know, competing for some of the same contracts and maneuvering. So I think, for one, winners respect winners. And everybody deep down, a lot of these brothers was raised in the church or raised by the Nation of Islam or Muslims. People love and respect God. And we do it in a way that's fashionable. You know, we make it look good. We make it look cool. We strong. You know, my movement, MDF, you know, militant, disciplined, and fearless. That's all about, like, the brother, that, your uncle that was up here, you know, just being a man's man and not just saying it, but living it. So I think them brothers all respect it. So when I'm in the West Coast where I'm about to go next and I'm out there with the Crips, they respect me being a Muslim. You know, I was on tour with Jeezy. Jeezy made it where during Ramadan I had a driver to take me to break fast every day. Not because he Muslim, but he was respecting how I was carrying it. So he like, damn, you really fast? And I'm like, yeah. So he set it up. We're like, yo, 6:30, you make sure Tone go wherever you want to go to eat. You know, and that's compassionate. And that's because if you respect it, they'll respect it, no matter their faith. And I think that's I benefit from that.
You have any MCs in your lineage, your kids?
They all kind of got a little bit of the bug, but because I'm in this and I know the real money and where it's really at and ownership and, you know, signing writers and different things like that, I've been trying to coach them to do that because I don't really want them to be famous. I don't want them to deal with the famous part, so I'd rather them just be wealthy. And, you know, CeeLo said to me one time, he said, money talk and wealth whispers, you know what I'm saying? So I'd rather my babies get that wealth and get that equity opposed to, you know, 10 million followers and, you know, they got to have armed security. I don't want that for them. You know, I want them to be safe and wealthy.
That's all I got, bro.
Believe that.
Appreciate you, man. You already.